Good evening, colleagues. So this video is in response to Chapter 4's question about what is funds of knowledge, and what can we do to incorporate funds of knowledge into the class, along with providing an environment that is authentic in language and has rich literacy. So So my experiences with funds of knowledge is the lived experiences of our DLLs, of our dual language learners and their families outside the school environment. It could be, lived experience in the form of cultural capital, linguistic capital, which I'll expand on later here in my discussion. So that's what funds of knowledge is the lived experiences of our dual language learners, taking the skills that they have outside of the classroom and connecting it to the classroom. And so one approach that I feel that I could use, keep in mind, in public schools we didn't have home visits. It's most of my information was from parent teacher conferences or just follow-up meetings or phone calls. But what I really like about the early childhood setting is that I can actually accompany my peers at these home visits. I can go with our FCEs, which are our family community engagement representatives, and they just keep in contact with parents, and they do the home visits and they do the FPAs with the parents. I could also partner up with the teachers and join them during the home visits. And some of the notes I took was or were so at these home visits, I paid really close attention, particularly to the child's cultural practices, the family routines, the dynamics between families, and the language and roles of family members in their home environment. So that would be one good way I could incorporate funds of knowledge into the classroom, and I'm going to expand a little bit on that. So if I were to look at the linguistic capital of the family or the child, for example, you know I've worked with a lot of bilingual families who primary language was Spanish, secondary language, excuse me, English. And so you could look into the linguistic capital of the family, and especially the children, because their linguistic capital could reveal certain skills that they've already acquired um, through traditional storytelling, like rhyme, memorization, and vocal tones. I myself experienced this, growing up with my great grandma and her brothers. So I remember that really well. Well, this can be transferred into the classroom, creating experiences using authentic language and language rich environments. And one thing that I really thought of, that I thought would be really neat, there's just one saying that we have uh, in my culture. We say it to children when they get hurt, and it's sana sana colita de rana. Si no sana hoy, sanará mañana. So I mean, this is a really cool you know approach or a framework for linguistic capital that you can um, take into the classroom. You can do memory. It has rhyme, even vocal tones, and so this is something that that children's parents. This is something that just passed down from generations. Like if you're Latino or from the community, this saying. So that's one really good way we can use funds of knowledge is using the sana sana colita terana as a form of linguistic capital. There's also let's see what else. Other examples of using funds of knowledge to create authentic language experiences and literacy-rich environments would be using the family's cultural capital. And Alanis defines cultural capital as a collaboration with families to create spaces that focus on the family's skills, experiences, and strengths. And again, this can be tied into, you know, earlier when I mentioned, paying a home visit, just paying really close attention to the practices, the roles of the family, the routines of the family, you know, the types of careers the families are engaged in. So those are some examples of how I would use um, funds of knowledge, bringing that from the home environment and building that bridge to get it to the school environment.